every single time you say, oh, I want that, something that is different, something that is a preferred future, something that is a quantum leap from where you are right now, I want you to start thinking, for me to have that, something needs to change. For me to have that, I need to show up differently. I need to connect differently. I need to do something different. There's something needs to happen. That's the price. Have you ever found yourself frustrated because, you think your business is growing because you're getting more patients and you're getting more clients, but you also have a significant number of people who have been patients and clients who are leaving? Have you ever wondered, what do I need to do so year to year, my client base, my audience base, my patient base continues to grow? Or maybe you have patients or clients who they've worked with you, they've kind of gotten used to you, and you're like, how do I continue to position myself as the person who is the answer for whatever problem it is your business solves for them? Well, in this episode of the EntreMD podcast, I am going to show you what I do. I'm actually going to take you behind the scenes to show you what I do to put my business in a position where year after year, people continue to work with us. So the EntreMD Business School at the time of this recording is about to be 5 years old. Okay. So the EntreMD Business School started on June the 27th of 2020. It's about to hit its 5th birthday. And we have people who have been in the EntreMD Business School since day one and are still in and are not planning to leave. So we have doctors who have been in the school for 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. I mean, we have some doctors who joined just, last week. So we have all of that, but we have these doctors who've been on and they came up with the hashtag, hashtag EBS for life and things like that. Why do they do that? Okay. First of all, what will be required? And then I'm going to give you a very practical example. Okay. So first of all, think about your business as this business that continues to grow. People continue to come into your audience. People continue to re-up with you. Even when you get them results, you've positioned yourself to continue to get them results and things like that. Is going to require 3 things. One of them is you're going to be the kind of entrepreneur that believes in continuous improvement, which means your product or your service is never done. I want you to start thinking about your product or your service like the iPhone, right? And so what that means is every single year, if you think about what the iPhone does, they spend time in research and development and prototyping and all of those things to come up with a better version of the iPhone. So their goal is not perfection. Their goal is not a phone that doesn't need improvement. Their goal is just a better version. And that's the same thing that I have done with my business with EntreMD, whether it is on the podcast, whether it's with the books we write, whether it's the EntreMD Business School. We're constantly looking how can we make this better? How can we help our people, get better results? How can we make this a better experience? But we know that we never arrive. We have never arrived. The EntreMD Business School has been changing consistently from day one. So that's the first thing that will be required of you. The second thing that will be required of you is a relentless focus on getting your clients results, right? Because sometimes, there is the trap of, thinking about your business as the final product or the final service. And so we're all in, what fires do we need to put out in our business? What do we need to make our businesses better? What is it that we need to do to hit this revenue goal and all of those things? And while, yes, I talk about revenue a lot and, a whole lot, it cannot be the leader. It is not enough of a leader. It is not motivating enough. It will not spark enough creativity. It will make you feel stalled. You also always want to have a focus on how do I get my people results? And so a lot of the programming you see, if there's a book we wrote, if there's a podcast episode that we did, if there's new programming we've added into the EntreMD Business School and all of that, it is all because we are focused on results and we want to help our people get results. So we do not acquire bells and whistles to have bells and whistles. We do not add new programming to what we do just to do it because it looks good. Everything we do because we've thought, what is it that our clients need for them to get results? And then we go create that. Okay. And that becomes the thing. So we have this relentless focus on getting people results. And I'm going to give you a perfect example, really perfect. We just did this last week. Now, the third thing you want to do is you want to have a pulse on your clients or your patients, because you need to understand what it is that is their perceived need, right? So for me as an entrepreneur, there are many things I know that my clients need. Okay. So for instance, I know like if you're building a business, marketing needs to be on point. Sales needs to be on point. I know you need to build a brand. I know as a physician, you need to make that transition from physician to physician entrepreneur. You need to learn to manage your time. You need to understand the 20% so you can spend most of your time doing 20% activities. I understand that you need to know how to hire great team members, how to lead them, how to hold them accountable, how to evaluate them, how to determine how each role makes revenue. Like I have a ton of things that I know. These are the things you need if you're going to build a successful business. So I know these things, but I also have to know what the perceived needs of my clients are. Like I know they need these things, but what do they feel they need? What do they think is getting in their way? What do they feel is the thing like, oh, if I had this, it would really help me, right? Because a magical place to be is where there's that overlap with the principles. Like, this is what this person needs, but you're able to communicate it through the filter and through the lens of what they feel that they need, because they're not going to respond to what I think they need. They're going to respond to what they think they need, right? And so the more far away I am from my clients, the less relevant I can be, the less results I can give them, the less I position myself as a person who can help them. Okay. So this is really important to know. So continuous improvement, we never arrive. We never, ever arrive. This is why I'm constantly learning. This is why I'm constantly evolving out, because we don't arrive. Okay. Relentless focus on getting the clients results, because that's the whole purpose of the business. The business gets people results, and it does it in a profitable way. It gets people results and they give a thank you note called money, right? And so we need to remember that as your business gets busier, there is this trap to start building the business, and you focus on that more than getting people results. And that is always a mistake. Okay. And then the third thing is a pulse on the clients. You need to know what feels like an urgent need to them. Okay. Let's bring this home. Okay. So I was thinking about the doctors in the EntreMD business school. And, at the time of this recording, we have the summer coming up. Okay. And the summer coming up, this presented some things. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through what I have 4 things here. Okay. So I would just want to walk you through the way I thought about it and what we did and what I anticipate will happen. So the first thing I started looking at was the problem. So what was the problem? The summer was here. A lot of businesses have a summer slump. A lot of them have a summer slump. The entrepreneurs get so distracted that they stop taking the critical steps that will make sure their businesses keep moving forward. And if you think about it, we're talking about, we're talking about a 90-day period. And your results in your businesses lag. So what that means is the results I'm seeing now are a result of things that I did 90 days ago. Okay. Of course, it's not an exact formula, but right. So it's 90 days ago. And so I may say, ooh, everything is working now, and I can take my foot off the gas for the next 90 days, and I'll still be creating results because I'm still living off the results I created 90 days ago. But guess what happens? 90 days from now I have no results, because the previous 90 days, I did nothing. I did nothing that really mattered for the business. So a lot of times this is what happens over the summer. So come the fall, it's like nothing is happening. Like my business has come to a standstill. I don't have the patients. The clients are not coming in. But when you check in the summer, nothing happened. Okay. So this is so critical. It's something that needs to be fixed, right? Because it's such a problem. Now, does that mean don't have a summer? No, that's not what that means. But how can we do it where we leverage the summer so that we still create the results that we have a summer? So anyway, so the problem, the summer slump, the fact that a lot of people don't execute in the summer. So the fall is like an absolute disaster. And then there's this other thing. When they're working on their businesses, now they feel guilty because they're like, oh man, I could have been on this trip with my family. And when they're on a trip with their family, they're like, oh man, I feel so guilty because I should have been working on my business. And so we have this thing of people are just generally, the pictures are nice, but there's a lot of dissatisfaction and there's a lot of, conflict internally and all this stuff. So this is what I'm thinking about. Like I'm thinking about my clients. I'm thinking this is what happens in the summer. So that's the problem. So I said, okay, but what could it look like? Like, what is a preferred future that they could have? Right. And so when I think about it, I'm like, what if And not what if from a standpoint of this is possible because I've done this many times and many of my clients have done this many times, but I'm looking for a way to make it a culture. And it's a thing that we all do in the EntreMD business school. So I'm like, what could it look like instead of having a disaster of a fall and feeling guilty through the summer and feeling stressed out because you didn't travel, or feeling stressed out because you did travel, right? Like what could it be? And I said, wow, you could have a summer where at the end of the summer, when you look back, you're like, okay, did my business move forward? Yes, it did. And did I get to have a dream summer? So I spent time with myself. I spent time with my family. Maybe I was able to travel or whatever that is. Like, could I have those two things? And the answer to that is yes, right? This is the preferred future. And I want to be very clear. When I talk about dream summer, I'm not talking about Instagram stuff. I'm talking about the things that are important to you and a version of the summer that is a significant upgrade from your last summer, right? Like it was a better experience. Maybe you had more time off, or maybe you had more meaningful connections and trips and stuff like that, or whatever that is for you. So there's no way to do the summer. Right? Like, for instance, we have some things going on in our family and businesses and church and all of those things. And we realized we would be better off traveling, saving our travel for the second half of the year rather than trying to fit it in the summer. And so we're not traveling this summer, but guess what we're going to have? We're going to have a dream summer because we've built the summer that works for us. There's going to be a lot of fun. It will be a summer to remember. It will be absolutely phenomenal, but that's our definition. That's our version. I just wanted to throw that out there. Okay. So we've looked at the problem. And the reason I'm walking through this is because I want you to do this in your business as well. So we've looked at the problem. We've looked at the preferred future. And so then number 3, then I was like, okay, so what is the prize for that? And this is a very powerful question to ask yourself every single time you say, oh, I want that. Like something that is different, something that is a preferred future, something that is a quantum leap from where you are right now. I want you to start thinking, okay, for me to have that, something needs to change. For me to have that, I need to show up differently. I need to connect differently. I need to do something different. There's something needs to happen. That's the prize. Okay. So we talked about this summer where at the end of the summer, the business moved forward significantly and we had a dream summer. What is the prize for that? What do I need to quote unquote pay for that? What do I need to change for that? Okay. And as I thought about it, I thought about a few things. Okay. What it means is that ultimately we're going to get a lot more done by doing less, right? That's what will need to happen. We get a lot more done by doing less. Now, what is the secret for that? I know that one of the secrets is strategic action, right? And so we don't have time to mess around with the things that are not moving the needle. We don't have time to actively procrastinate. And what I mean by that is you're very busy, but you're procrastinating on all the most important things that will get you the results. This is a time where we show up, we do the most significant work, like the work that moves the needle the most. We do that because those are your 20% activities, and your 20% activities are always fewer, but have bigger impacts, right? So we need to take strategic action, which means we need to identify what those actions are, and then we need to take them. We need to do them. Okay. So I know that's one of the things that would need to happen. That's one of the prizes we would need to pay. The other prize I know we would need to pay is strategic use of time. Now it's very closely related to strategic action, but we can't just show up and do whatever it is we want whenever we want, because we want to have the time for the family. We want to have the time for the trip. We want to have the time for all of those. So the era of not mapping out our time, the era of not using our time wisely and all of that. So, like, we just can't afford it because the opportunity cost is we cannot have, like significant quantum leaps in business and dream summer. Like there's no scenario where that happens, right? So I'm like, okay, we need to take strategic action. We need to use our time strategically. And then the third thing is we need to prioritize our life and our business. Like, if we don't prioritize them, something will fall. Something will be ignored. Something won't happen. And so, for instance, when I start talking about, me talking to the students about it, I'm like, we're going to put both of these things up, right? We created a theme and I'll tell you about it in a second, but we're going to put both of these things up so we can drive for both things. Okay. So it's not like the life is in the back corner or the business is in the back corner. We're prioritizing both. Why? We want to have both. Okay. So that's the prize. So we're not going to do, things the same. And so because that's the prize, then the question is then, as the person who is the leader of the EntreMD business school, as a person who is coaching them and showing them the way and all of that, how do I create an environment that will drive people to do these things? How do I create an environment where we're not having more programming, where we're having less programming, but more powerful, more impactful? How do we do that? How do I sell them on this idea? How do I help them pay the price that must be paid? So these are all the things that I was thinking about. And then after that, so I looked at the problem, I looked at the preferred future, I looked at the prize, then I came up with the plan. Okay. So the game plan, what is it that we're going to do? I did not realize they were all P's. My 4P formula for wowing your clients endlessly. Okay. But anyway, so then it was the plan. Okay. The plan here is, okay, let us create a summer experience. And this is the way I thought about it. I said an hour during the spring and an hour during the summer are not the same. And if people are going to come up on calls on Wednesday and show up live and all of those things, I want them to go like, my goodness, like, it's the summer. I have all these things going on, but I'm so glad I came on this call. Like I want to make it doubly as valuable because that time is valuable and I want to be respectful of their time. Right. And so I said, okay, so these Wednesday calls, we're going to use this as the incubator for all the things that we're going to do over the summer. And, and all of that. But I skipped one thing. Let me tell you about that real quick. One of the things that I did, remember I talked about having your pulse on the clients. I know what they need, right? Like from my perspective and experience, running multiple businesses and in different industries and all of that and coaching hundreds and thousands at this point, actually, of physicians. I know what they need. But at the same time, I want to know what they think they need or what they're working on, what they're doing, so I can customize it as much as possible. So actually, I did a number of surveys. And so, with one group of doctors, I was like, okay, what are you working on for the summer? Right? Like, so we have June the 20th, officially June the 20th to September 22nd, I think it is. I said, what are you working on? What are the top things you want to accomplish in your business? And so, people started telling me what that was and all of that. And when I looked at it, I was like, okay, at the end of the day, it's revenue, it's team. Some people want to launch some new programs or verticals and stuff like that. Some people want to lead their team better, restructure their teams so that they're more efficient and they're more profitable and all of those things. So there were themes that I noticed, right? There are things I noticed. So I took what I know they need and I took what it is they're working on and I wove that together to then create this plan, this game plan that is the summer experience. And I really, like when I think about it, the summer experience is all about how do I get them to, work through so much in little time so they end up having a lot of traction over the summer and they had the time to spend with their families and all that stuff. So let me walk you through some of them. Okay. So I told you that a lot of the things that came up were around team, were about launching, relaunching programs or new verticals or launching their businesses and stuff like that. And then, of course, the mind, there's always mindset stuff, that came up. So I want you to imagine this. Okay. Because this is starting like, June the 4th or something like that. Technically June the 11th, but I started from June the 4th since it was the next call. So I want to walk you through what we did. Okay. And I want you to think about this. And on this one, you can actually send me a DM and just say, hey, Dr. Una, good job. You did a good job. Okay. Because this is what I came up with. So for the first Wednesday, we're going to do what we call the RevCon. Now, the RevCon, I developed that because I found, doctors, we don't really like to talk about money a whole lot and stuff like that. And so the RevCon is revenue conference. Like think about that, like RevCon. And in that, we're like, okay, this is the way it goes. It's a coaching session. Somebody raised their hand. They're like, this is my name. This is the type of business I run. This is my revenue goal for this quarter of the year. And this is my question, right? So it's literally like there's something getting in the way of your revenue. Let's have this conversation. Let's get you the help that you need so you can go crush it. And I cannot tell you how wild those are. Like people come do that the next week. They've hired who they need to hire. They've de-hired who they need to hire. They've had $100,000 breakthroughs in their business. They've done like all kinds of amazing things. Okay. So we call it RevCon. And I always kind of expand it, right? So yes, one person is asking the question, but everybody learns from that question. So it's it's really powerful. So we do that the first Wednesday of every month regardless anyway. So we have RevCon. So it's like real time coaching for real revenue wins. We troubleshoot, we tune up, we look for that revenue block, we get it out of the way. That's what we do. So June the 4th, RevCon. June the 11th, Champions Mindsets. We do this the second Wednesday. These are the two that don't really go away. They're recurring themes because in the beginning, I was really big on mindset stuff. And then people are like, oh, I don't need all those mindset stuff. I need tactics. And I'm really good at tactics and strategy. So I'm teaching strategy. And I'm realizing if you don't have the mindset, you're not doing the strategy anyway. And so I was like, great, I'm great at both. So we just put both. Okay. So Champions Mindsets, the first one we're doing on June the 11th is selling with confidence. Okay. Like, how do I sell with confidence? And everything is selling, right? You sell team members to work with you. You sell referral sources referring to you. You sell team members on coming to accept to be an employee in your business, all of that. But how do you do that without the mind drama, right? Like I'm bothering people. Nobody really wants to work with me, blah, 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 all of those kind of things. So we're going to deal with that, right? Why am I doing this again? Because I want them moving, right? Like, so selling, super important. I want them moving forward. Okay. Then on the 18th is like how to execute a profitable sales campaign with your team. Why did I put that there? Because again, number of people who want to launch verticals, new clinics and all of those things. And I want to show them how to like not just say, oh, we want to do this and do it once or twice. Like, how do I roll out a campaign for this? Right? Like you say, okay, over the next 90 days, we want to bring X number, this new vertical that we're launching. How do you do that? And how do you do it with your team? Right? And we've done this many times. Some people are like, oh, I want to avoid the summer slump. Again, it is a sales campaign that you put in place to avoid that summer slump. So you see how I'm not making up content. I'm literally solving problems with content, right? I'm solving problems with these live calls. Okay. And then on the fourth Wednesday, we're going to do what I call Tranquil, and it's self-care for high performers. And it's not about massages and yoga and all of those things. It's about the real things that high performing people running multi-seven-figure businesses do so that they can take care of themselves and be calm and enjoy the process. So even though they have a lot happening in their business, they're still calm and they're enjoying it and enjoying their time with their family and all of that stuff. Because if we don't know this stuff, we leave being burnt out as employees to come be burnt out in our businesses. So that's a whole month of programming. But guess what happens to everyone who goes through that? They take this, they apply it in their business. It's significant change. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, even if they didn't have a proper plan and all of those things, like that's my job, right? They have a significant change. Okay. So July, again, the first Wednesday will be RevCon. The second Wednesday is Champions Mindset. Now we're talking about becoming the leader your rockstar team deserves. Because a lot of times when you look at teams and you're like, this team is out of whack, the first place to look at is the leader, not actually the team. Are you leading them? Are you calling them to hire? Are you casting vision? Are you holding them accountable? Do they even know how their role creates revenue? Do they know what it means to win in your organization? And we shy away from so many of those things because sometimes we don't feel we're worthy of rockstar team members. We don't feel that anybody will follow us. We feel we don't know what we're doing. So blah, 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 blah. But we're going to get all those mindset things out of the way so that the people can show up as the leaders that they are. The third Wednesday, the 7-figure team blueprint, right? And this comes up all the time. The number one thing you can do after showing up as the leader of a rockstar team, the next most important thing you do is give your people clarity. This is what winning means. This is what your role is. This is how your role creates revenues. These are the KPIs you're going to be evaluated over. This is going to be our meeting cadence, all of those things, right? Because if you don't have the team that functions that way, you can't scale, you can't grow. What you have is a team that is a weight. So you carry the burdens you carry, and then you carry the burden of their payroll, and you carry the burden of improperly managing them, and you're still doing all the work, right? Okay. So we're going to do that. I mean, that alone, that's like fantastic, right? Okay. And then the fourth Wednesday, they have the specialty mastermind where they break out it's breakout sessions based on the kind of business. And then they'll have some prompts as, what to discuss there. And then they have, the fifth one is laser coaching. We call them 7-figure conversations and, Q&A and stuff like that, which will be phenomenal. Okay. Then August. So you see how this is built out. Then August, we have, again, beginning with the RevCon and then the Champions Mindset the next Wednesday. And that is mastering difficult conversations that strengthen your team. So you have somebody that's underperforming. How do you have that conversation, right? You have someone you need to de-hire. How do you have that conversation? You have like all of those kind of things. You have to negotiate with the team member. How do you do that? And so we're going to work through all of that from a mindset perspective. And then the following Wednesday, we're going to do hiring and onboarding. onboarding, because again, many mistakes, you have a terrible team member. A lot of times it could have been avoided in the hiring process. You have somebody who's underperforming. A lot of times they were not set up properly with the onboarding process. So these are two things when you put in place, your team gets so much better. And then we have a guest expert coming in to talk about AI powered team upgrades the following Wednesday. So do you see how this whole thing is created and is just designed to put the doctors in a position where this summer they will push their business, like even if they only did 50% of this, but please do not tell them. And if you're in the EntreMD Business School listening to this, I did not say this, okay? But even if they only did 50% of it or 30% of it, guess what will happen? Like they're going to make significant traction and they're going to get so much time back, because guess what? You see the heavy emphasis on team, because that's is significant part of how you get your time back. You see the episode or the live session on Tranquil, where you learn how to have a business that is doing the mostest and be cool and be at peace and be okay, right? So these are all the things that we're going to do, but it's all born out of, right? Like, how can I help my people win? So we look at, like someone may look at it, this is genius. This is amazing, blah, 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 blah. But it's not that I came up with it. It's not that I was like, what can we do to make, the EntreMD Business School exciting? It's how can we solve problems? I guess what is going to happen with all these doctors, they're going to win. They're going to win. And they would have set the stage. Like if they then put another 90 days of work in over the fall, oh my goodness, Q4 and Q1 of next year will be like phenomenal, right? Which is what I want for every single one of them. So the reason I share this with you is because you can take this same process and go to your business. You may be thinking, I'm private practice. How does that apply to me? It's the same thing, right? So in the summer, when you think about it, or it doesn't have to be the summer, like regardless, what is the issue? They don't want to have long wait times. They don't want to, wait forever for the forms that need to be filled. All these things, like just think about them. Like, how could I solve these things? Right? How can I solve these things? Or you see that they're having challenges with following up with the instructions you're giving them, whether that's some dietary stuff or sleep stuff and all of that. You're like, how can I solve these things? You see, these questions, this level of thinking is where innovation comes from. That's where it comes from, is from asking the right questions and with the right focus, which is your clients and your patients, right? So I want you to, think about this, do a version in your business, right? Do a version in your business and, start making this something that you do periodically. The EntreMD Business School is different every 90 days because we do this every 90 days. Like I'm always constantly asking this question, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? How can we switch this and all of that? So I want you to do that. And if you're not in the EntreMD Business School and you've been thinking about it, there isn't a container like this, right? There isn't a container where you can get the support that you need to build the business that you want to build, a place where the right vision will be in front of you, a place where the possibilities will be in front of you, a place where the programming is designed to help you win, not just in your business, but in your life. There just isn't a place like it where you have classmates like the ones you have, the EBS Commonwealth. I mean, it's just unbelievable, the quality of the people that are in the room. And so if you've been thinking about it, maybe this summer, maybe that's your big step, right? EntreMD.com/business and turn in an application. Let's see if this is the best next step for you. And we don't strong arm anybody. We don't do like high pressure sales tactics. And if it's not the best fit for you, we'll tell you it's not. And we have done that and we continue to do that because we're not here. Our primary objective is not to make a buck. Our primary objective is to help physicians win and help enough of them win so that the expectation and the new normal and the normal for the physician community changes. Okay. Where we become a people who expect to have the 5 freedoms. We expect to practice medicine on terms. We expect to live life on our terms. We expect to have financial freedom. We expect to have time freedom, and we expect to have the freedom to pursue our purposes. Okay. That's what every physician deserves. Okay. So regardless if you're in the business school or not, I hope that you take this and run with it and make some changes in your business. And I also hope that you got the lesson of, I don't disappear in the summer and come back in the fall and wonder what happened to my business. Now, you know, it doesn't mean you spend all summer doing that. It doesn't mean you say no to every family event. It doesn't mean that, but it does mean that you strategically take action on your business. And so you have something to build on in the fall. Okay. As always, I am rooting for you like relentlessly. And I hope like for the doctors in the EntreMD Business School, I hope for them that this will be a summer to remember. And this is what we said. It's going to be a summer where we're going to have more profits, stronger teams, and real freedom. I hope that's your experience as well. Okay. So share this with another doc in your world, and I'll see you on the next episode of the EntreMD podcast.